Hi everyone, my name is Cindy and I'll be the host for today's discussion. Okay, before we start, I would just like to inform everybody about the agenda. So first of all, I will be going through the overall guidelines to follow in this whole entire session. And in the introduction session, we will get to know a little bit more about the panelists that we have today and the business that they are currently running. The sharing session is where our panelists will be discussing about what do you really need to start a business. And in the Q&A session is where we will be answering your pre-submitted question and any question that you might have throughout this whole entire discussion. And during the closing, we will be announcing our upcoming programs and also a little surprise waiting for you by Nyonya Kain at the end. So the guidelines are, please be reminded to stay muted and turn off your camera when you join. If you have any questions that you would like to bring up during this whole entire session, please do ask them in the chat and we will ask them during the Q&A session. Okay, and also please use respectful language in the chat. All right, welcome everyone to an Entrepreneur Starter Pack, a forum where we will be discussing with 3 Malaysian micro entrepreneurs about what do you really need to start a small business based on their entrepreneurship experience. This forum is part of Ready Set Rise, a series of online events that aims to inspire Malaysian youth to start their own business and equip them with practical tools and the mindset needed to do so. This event is brought to you by RYSE, a Malaysian's research and social outreach project that empowers Malaysian youth through entrepreneurship, and RYSE is proudly supported by City Foundation. Without further ado, I am happy to welcome our panelists for today, Dayana from Nyonya Kain, Azlan from Kelava, and Edmond from Smolpotato. Welcome everyone, we're honored to have you here today.
Hello.
Hello, thank you.
Hi.
All right, so now we've known the faces of the micro entrepreneurs today. We will now go into a small session to learn a little bit better about who these panelists are. So can you tell us a bit about yourself, your background and your business? Let's start off with Dayana, then we'll move on to Azlan, and he also have a little surprise for you guys, and also we'll move on to Edmond. All right, so Dayana, take it away.
Sure. Hi everyone, good morning. All right, so I'm Dayana from Nyonya Kain. So just to share a little bit about my business. So we started end of 2018. So we're a sustainable brand, incorporating the latest batik fashion trends. So we have fashion wear, we have hair accessories, masks, essentials, and also collectibles that are made with love and designed in unique pieces. So we actually aim to incorporate all these traditional items into our everyday wear and empowering each and every owner of our products through arts and fashion. Like even right now, just to share with everyone, I'm wearing one of my own collections. It's a reversible kimono. All right, so in terms of right now, the brand, so we are fully, I'm the operator, the owner of this business, and we are fully local. We use local products, manufactured locally. Fabrics are all sourced from the Malay archipelago, so it's all either Malaysia and Indonesia. So in terms of our plans, before COVID, we were fully physical, so we were always at bazaars and all. So due to COVID, I think we will be sharing a bit more later. That's when I went digital. So that's when we actually got to encounter, going through digital means, e-commerce platforms and all, and selling online, and that kind of catapulted us to catering nationwide as well as international customers as well. So in terms of my plans, and what we always do is that our long-term aim is to be a social enterprise. However, along the way, our main aim is to be able to spread more love and awareness for the local arts and also batik fashion as well, and to make it sustainable, affordable, and also inculcate that zero waste concept into everyone. So that's just the gist of Nyonya Kain. But I think throughout the day, we'll be taking through in terms of what the businesses are about. And please feel free to check our social media accounts as well. And for everyone, please stay tuned, because at the end, the little surprise I'm sharing is actually our exclusive promo code to everyone who is attending. You'll get a special 25% promo code discount for my website later. So yeah, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Dayana. I think now we'll move on to Azlan.
Yes, hi everyone, I'm Azlan. I am the founder of Kelava Ice Cream. So I'll share with you a bit about myself, my educational and professional background. I studied accounting and finance at Monash University, like a lot of people, before working in that field for the next 10 years with companies such as Ernst & Young and Bausted Holdings. My work back then involved mainly things like financial statements audit, management accounting, financial reporting, that kind of stuff. And during this period, I also obtained my accounting chartership with CPA Australia. But then something special happened after 10 years of doing this. In 2016, I decided to be a vegan. So I found this new lifestyle that I'm very passionate about. And then it was quite tough. It is still tough nowadays, but very lucky for me, my then girlfriend, now is my wife, she decided to follow suit. So it became a lot easier for us because we were doing it together. And she's an ice cream lover. So she quickly noticed that there's a gap in the local market for vegan ice cream. This was in 2016 to 2017. So at the same time, having worked in the professional scene for 10 years, I had always wanted to start something on my own. I always know that one day I'm going to own a business. I want to have my own thing running. And then, so these two situations of her being an ice cream lover and identifying the gap in the market and me wanting to start something on my own came together as a perfect opportunity to start a passion project. So Kelava was born in 2017 out of my own savings, actually. So a little bit about the business now. The name Kelava is actually a word combination of kelapa, which means coconut, and love. So you get kelapa, kelava. And the reason we chose that is because kelapa is the main ingredient in our base. It's a substitute to the conventional dairy milk used in the conventional ice cream. The uniqueness of our brand is in the ingredients itself. Like I mentioned, it is a vegan ice cream, so it means it contains only plant-based foods. And also the uniqueness lies in the fact that it is handmade in small batches. We started online back then, focusing on selling through social media and from our website. But now we are more into retail. As of today, we are stocked at 34 shops and restaurants. So I think that is the introduction that I have.
All right.
Oh, okay. So I'm also sharing a special offer to all the audience today. That includes our speakers and all the RYSE team members also. It's a 10% discount if you order it from directly from my website using the promo code RYSE. RYSE.
All right. Thank you so much, Azlan, and for that little surprise for all the audience. And now we'll move on to Edmond.
I'm busy typing in the discount code. Hold on. Hey, hi guys. My name is Edmond, and I'm the co-founder of Smolpotato together with my wife Tasha. She's over there. She's very shy. She doesn't want to come. And Smolpotato is a neighbor help neighbor business whereby we help neighbors to get closer to one another. Neighbors can buy, sell, and rent from one another. And the great thing about doing that is not only do you support the people closest to you and your community during these tough times, but you also don't have to use so much plastic waste, because if you're hungry, go to your neighbor, get their curry chicken back home, you know, and have a great dinner without throwing a lot of plastics away. So that's Smolpotato. I also run a creative and marketing agency called Pew Pew, and at Pew Pew we help purpose-driven businesses grow. So businesses who want to make the world a better place, we actually try to help them grow. Prior to that, I'm the co-founder of EduNation, and now it's been rebranded to BAC Flix. But in EduNation, we give free tuition to every Malaysian child online. So we over a period of 6 years, we made 6,000 videos on all core subjects for school kids. That was. And before that, I was a civil engineer in water treatment. So it's been, a crazy journey that, you know, I hope to share some of it later.
Right. Thank you so much to our panelists for sharing a little bit about themselves. And now let's go into the main discussion where you really get to find out what do you really need to start a small business. So to kick things off, I'd like to ask the panelists, how did you know when you had the right idea to start your current business? Maybe we can start off with Azlan.
For me, it was a fairly simple process, like I shared during my intro, because my wife already told me that we have this opportunity to do something that you would really be passionate about. So, I mean, who doesn't love ice cream? So it's not a very hard thing to sell if you get it right. And also because there's a gap in the market. For vegan ice cream, I guess there are also lactose intolerant people. So that helped us to make the decision that we know that, okay, this is the product that we want to focus on. And as to the decision to be non-brick and mortar, I would say is more motivated by limited access to funds. For us, it's easier, it's safer to start when you're not renting. But with that also comes the problem of reaching out to customers. It's not so easy to reach out when you're non-brick and mortar. But thankfully, in this digital era, that problem can be fixed. You can use social media, which is a great tool. You can have a website. Maybe Edmond can share more about this, like e-commerce website as well. So for me, it was very simple process to decide what is it I want to create out there. It's something that I would definitely like.
Right. Anything else from the other panelists? You can just chime in whenever you chime in. Maybe Dayana, you can share a bit about why did you choose specifically to do a batik? I know you talk about you want to do into the art scene, but why particularly batik design? Because you have a lot of range of product as well. Yeah.
Right. Basically, in terms of sorry, I forgot to share a bit of my background just now earlier. So actually, I'm running. So Nyonya Kain is my side business. So my full-time job is in corporate. So we do more of like finance, unlicensed activities, scams and all that. So that's my area in my day job. So because we're in somewhat a semi-government entity, I need to wear nice formal on a daily basis. So at one point I was thinking, how do I really, enjoy being very fashionable every day, or at least something different to wear to work all the time. So at one point I really loved wearing like baju kedah and then like pario skirts, especially because that's something that you can wear with a blouse, with a nice kurung kedah top or anything. So automatically, and I was thinking, I said, oh, you know, since I love it so much, I love batik and I love wearing local baju a lot kind of thing. So I was thinking, you know, one day I told myself I would like to try doing it. And what happened actually was end of 2018, it was a trip. I accompanied my mom together with my brother to Kelantan. That was my first time going to Kelantan since I was in primary school. And my mom was like, oh, please bring money. You know, you're going to enjoy the shopping there. I said, no lah, ma, it's all like textiles and all that. I don't have tailor and all that. So I was thinking, no lah, you know, I'll just go and just enjoy the nasi kerabu 3 times a day kind of thing. So, and then when we went to Wakaf Cik Ye, the main like night market there in the middle of Kota Baru, I went crazy and I was like, I said, oh, it was just so surreal, like looking at all the different fabrics and how passionate all the traders were and all that. So in that one night, okay, I remember I actually had to like drop my brother and my mom off. I said, okay, you all go back first, you all sleep first. I was at the market until 2 a.m. So I connected with all the traders there and I was buying and collecting all these pieces. And actually the idea came from my mom because she was saying that, why don't you just buy 30 pieces and see if you can sell it back in Klang Valley. And true enough, I brought it to work the next week. After working hours, I was like asking all the seniors, some of the bosses who I know love kain and love textiles. And I sold everything in like 3 days. So, and I was like, oh, there's an opportunity here. So I started doing that first. just selling textiles. So nothing ready-made, no accessories, no bags, no masks, nothing. So, but then after a while, going through bazaars, I noticed that the market for just kain pasang was not very, how to say, it's a very hit and miss kind of thing. You could go to certain markets, certain customers will appreciate and be able to buy, but certain people always had the issue where, oh, I got no tailor. So that's when I realized there was a gap, like, okay, you know, it's either I have to partner up with a tailor or I just do my own ready-made fashion wear. So along the way throughout 2019, it was just a lot of different, how to say, hits and misses and trials and tribulations. But I think at that point, if you're asking me in terms of when that idea just came into mind, it was at that material point in time in August 2018 when I was in Kelantan. So that was when I thought, okay, you know what, this has to happen. You know, I can't just keep saying one day I want to venture into something batik or local related. So that was for me, for my Nyonya Kain. Yeah.
Hey, thank you for sharing. How about you, Edmond?
Well,
Because you are a bit different, right? Because you're doing a service instead of selling one product.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the most dramatic story of, you know, when did I know when I had the right idea wasn't so much for Smolpotato, it was for EduNation, actually, because I basically cried my face off when I was watching a TED video. And the reason is because around 2005, I met this kid. His name is John. John's an orphan, right? He's 15 years old. He lives in an orphanage behind Asunta Hospital in PJ. So I was there trying to tutor the kids there in math. And John was the only one out of the entire orphanage to show up, right? So I tried, and it was PMR a year, you know, and now it's called PT3 or something. But last time it was called PMR. And he was having trouble in math. I tried to tutor him, doesn't understand. I tried to tutor him some more, he really doesn't understand. So I asked him the most basic question, you know. I asked John, what is half plus half? Right? And he thought about it for a while. And he said, 1/4. I was like, shit, this kid is in my head, I didn't say that to him, but in my head, I was like, crap, this kid is 15 years old. It's going to take PT3 in a month, PMR in a month, and he can't add half plus half. And so I did something that I was totally not proud of after that. I totally ran. I never went back to the orphanage ever again. I never saw John ever again. I never even tried because I just ran because I think back then it's because I felt very hopeless. I felt really helpless. Like, I can't even help one kid. What the heck am I trying to even do? And so when I saw Khan Academy and Salman Khan on Khan Academy, from Khan Academy talking on the TED stage, and he said he put all these videos online, and I just broke down, and I knew I had to do this in Malaysia as well. So that was EduNation lah. For Smolpotato, it's a lot easier. I was already an entrepreneur of sorts for many years, and so when an idea came to, you know, now a lot of people are suffering. You know, they've lost their income. So, you know, let's help them start their own micro businesses. Let's give them a platform to be able to help each other, and that's where Smolpotato was born. Yeah.
Right. Thank you all for sharing that part of your business and how did you actually come about in finding out the right idea, which is now your current business. Now let's go into something that, you know, everybody like to ask or everybody would like to really know, especially for those who want to start out their own small business. Do you believe there is some sort of pattern or formula to become a successful entrepreneur? If so, what is it? And could you share a little bit for those aspiring entrepreneurs out there?
Should I go?
Yeah, Azlan, go ahead.
Okay. Okay.
The recipe, Azlan.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Recipe. I don't think there's such thing as a magic recipe or formula out there to success. As you know, like, everyone is in their own unique circumstances, and the world just keeps on changing rapidly, and it's so random. So I think chance is relevant to everything. But what we can do as humans is we can influence chance. So, for example, it's a common knowledge that the more work you put in, the greater the chance of success or achieving your goals, right? So, but what I can do is just share what has been working for me. It's not like a guaranteed element to starting a business, but I think you can start with a why. Like Edmond and Dayana also shared like how they all come to do what they are doing. So if you have a good why, I think it gives you a pillar, something to comes back to when you are challenged. So if you have this firmly seated, everything else is just details to be figured out. Also, I think you need to be patient and resilient. So hard work, I think, is a must. To me, is a must, because if you look at all the successful people out there in sports, Cristiano Ronaldo, or in entertainment, The Rock, you look at them, there's one thing they do: they don't give up. So I think entrepreneurship is for the tough-minded. So if you wonder what makes people go out there and do things, because they don't give up, I think. And the last one, I think, adapting, because you shouldn't treat your plans like an instruction manual to assemble a furniture. Like, it's good to have a plan, but most likely things will not turn out. It will not turn out the way that you imagine it. So, like Stephen Hawking, the late physicist, say intelligence is the ability to adapt to changes. So you need to continuously learn and change and adapt. So these are the three things I think that makes success more likely.
Right. For Edmond and Dayana, anything to chime in on that, or do you have your own set formula that you might want to share?
I think I'll go first. I think in terms of, for me, I believe that you need to really believe in your product and your passion, and also your direction, or what is it you want to achieve. Because ultimately, in the whole route, or in the whole journey of entrepreneurship, right, you're gonna encounter a lot of people asking why are you doing this, or like, for example, I'll just share with everyone. I've at the early start of my business, people were actually even saying there's thousands of people doing batik. Why are you trying to enter a market which is so huge already? So, but the thing is, I mean, okay, and also just to talk about like my other side hustle before this was in photography. So in photography, everybody, can be doing photography to a certain extent, every different angle. So you're going to encounter people will be asking like, why don't you choose something that nobody has ever done? But then I guess it's not as simple as that. And there's nobody, and I feel in everything you do, there's always a part of the pie enough for everyone. And then I totally believe in the fact that, like I said, you need to believe and constantly shut out those negative comments, and also fight those challenges. If somebody is saying that, batik, you start this year, confirm cannot lah, because so many people are doing it. Some people with more capital or more influence or more connections and all that. So I literally told myself at the early 2019, I said, okay, fine, bring it on. So, I said, I'm not gonna, be sensitive or affected by whatever you're saying, but at the same time, I'm going to take on the challenge. And if I may share, like for Nyonya Kain, we started from scratch, everything. And like literally, in terms of even capital, it was very minimal capital, and just playing around with like, okay, once we sold things, the balance, untung, we would pump it back into it. So it was more of just trying, in terms of the different marketing plans, different sales plans and all. But at the same time, you need to believe in it. Like why is, in terms of, and nobody else is gonna be more devoted to your product or your brand or your business more than yourself. So for me, it's like, I know that my product is good. I know that my items can be, the branding is good, or even it represents a certain style or a certain message. Then you need to be the one to be pushing it out, not other people, and not, anybody, and not allowing anybody else to get to you on that. And as well as determination. I think what, even like what Azlan was saying, it's a lot of hard work, but it's all worth it. And because in the end, it's more that effort being put in and seeing that results at the end is just so satisfying, more than anything else. So it's always, nothing comes easy at all. Like nothing comes easy, especially in the long term. You may be lucky at a certain extent or something, but you will see that if you don't continue to put in the sufficient effort, it may not last, or you may encounter more obstacles later. So it's always like, you know, there's going to be sacrifices coming along. Like, for example, like people are hanging out having a party or something Saturday night, and you're like, oh no, I need to plan my marketing for tomorrow's bazaar or something. Or even it's like, you know, the whole week everybody's having a chill time, but you're like, like for me, my free time is only at night and weekends. So that's when I look at my sales, my orders, and that's when I'm planning and doing up all the marketing plans and engaging with stakeholders and all that. But to be very honest, I mean, yes, some people will say, oh, then when do you rest, or when do you actually chill, or when do you have time for other things? I said, well, you adapt and you make time otherwise, and people who really care and support you 100% in what you're doing and what you believe will understand that. So I think it's more of managing what you're okay with and just assessing it every time, having postmortems to see what works, what doesn't work. Yeah.
That's a good tip from Dayana. Edmond?
It's obvious that you're a photographer, Dayana, because you have a Leica pillow Leica camera pillow in your background.
Can't own a Leica X camera yet, so I'll just get the pillow enough lah.
Okay lah. As long as it's comfortable, cukup dah. So you asked for a formula, and you know, obviously, like Azlan said, obviously, you know, we're all different. But I think if there's one thing I can share here is basically be a screw up. You know, I think, and I think the demographic of the audience that's here today is on the younger side, including the speakers. But unfortunately, right, growing up has conditioned us to be very afraid of failing. Like, cannot fail, that's a bad thing. But that's really the wrong message that schools send, you know. Failing is not a bad thing. Screwing up is not a bad thing. And I'll tell you why. The only time we ever screw up, well, I mean, usually is when we try something new, right? You know, we're always horrible at something new. You know, when you first play badminton, you know, you first pick up a basketball, whatever, like, you know, everything you do first, right? You're always horrible at it. You know, Azlan, I don't know, like, when you made your first batch of coconut ice cream, maybe it was perfect for you, but you know, oh, sorry, you're on mute. You're on mute, Azlan.
Oh, it was bad. I said my first batch of ice cream was basically a block of ice.
And can you imagine if Azlan after that was like, screw this, business not for me. You know, it doesn't make sense, like, guys, right? So really, I think the formula for you becoming, you know, starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur is, you know, please screw up, lah. You know, please make these mistakes. Please fail. You're going to lose some money. You're going to lose your pride and ego. People will look at you. Your family will look at you and, what is this guy doing? It's okay, you know, because, and I think this really needs to become a habit. If you feel that you're not screwing up enough, there's something wrong in your life. So, and to me, I think that's the formula for becoming a successful entrepreneur. Every time you screw up, be humble enough to take feedback and learn. And to keep trying to improve, and after a few years, I think you could have a thriving business.
Right. I think what all three of you says goes back to, I think at the end of the day, the mindset that an entrepreneur should have. And I think that connects back to our next question, which is, what do you really need to start a small business? Like top 3 essentials on top of your head, or what you experience as an entrepreneur. What are the 3 top essentials that one should have? Maybe Dayana can start.
Sure. In terms of, for me, I think first of all, your idea. So there's no, I mean, I have to admit, you know, you definitely need a plan. You cannot just like, tomorrow, okay, I'm going to start selling batik, and then have no plans and everything. So there's obviously a little bit of planning is important. It's essential to kind of just have an idea, okay, what is it that you want to do? And then most importantly, research, you know, engagement, do a lot of background research, and also in terms of support. So like, okay, so in terms of research and, you know, engagement, let's say if you're going to start a business into something that you're not really aware of, or even if you're passionate about that thing. For example, I love batik, but you know, being somebody who is then venturing as an entrepreneur into that area, you need to be aware. Like, people are gonna ask you like, which batik is this from? What material is this? Where do you source it? What's the measurements? Would it look good? What kind of cutting and all that? So all those things, you know, I have no background in sewing or anything. I barely passed my KH last time, okay? So, you know, kemahiran hidup, the ERC area. So, you know, I had no clue. But, you know, in time, like, so I was sacrificing like 1-2 hours of sleep just to read up about all this cultural backgrounds, awareness, different batik and all that. And also, you know, so instead of sometimes if you have like, for example, you usually, let's say like you allot yourself 1 hour of Netflix a day. So instead of that, I was like, okay, half an hour will be devoted to how to fix and improve my business, you know, learning about this, digital marketing and everything. So it was not easy, you know, from being someone from the background where it's totally just computer-based finance, you know, kind of thing. So it's very different. So, and also in terms of goals, you know, once you start that end game of your plan, what is your goal? You know, could it be that, okay, I want to my exit strategy is I want to sell off the business to somebody and earn a certain amount of money from that? Or could it be that I want to be able to own and operate a flagship physical store? Or it could be like you want to achieve a certain amount of assets or something, or even if, let's say, it could be even a financial goal, like, okay, from this business, I want to stop or take it easy after I've made like my first million or something, for example. So I think all that is important because, like, for me, I'm the type where if I got no direction, I can't really function. Like, I need to know, okay, you tell me, I need to know, like, okay, for this year, this is my goal, or every month, this is my plan. I want to make sure I achieve a certain amount of sales or a certain amount of collaborations or a certain amount of good engagement or feedback. So that's very important because if you don't, you can have your idea and all your research, but if you don't know what you're trying to achieve or you don't know what you want to do actually or what is it, you know, so it could even be like, for example, I'll share with everyone, my first, even though selling the textiles, that was fashion and all that, but my one main goal was that I wanted the money from my business to pay off my commitments, like my housing loan and car loan and any other thing. So that was my initial goal, to be very honest. It wasn't super large scale at all. Like, it was just, okay, I want to earn on the side and not make it too strenuous and difficult to manage all my other things in life. So, but along the way, I noticed that I was having so much fun. I was so passionate. I was willing to sacrifice a lot of things, sleep, social outings and all that, just to develop and grow this baby startup of mine. And then my plans evolved. So it was no longer just pocket money or side money, emergency money. No, it was like, I want to keep getting better and better, you know. But I think one thing I just want to stress that, in a way, I know some people might say that, oh, you know, you shouldn't, like they say, love what you do what you love. Some people say that, oh, I don't believe in that saying. But when you love and you have a really strong passion and determination for something, right, it gives you a more positive effect or outlook to kind of continue doing it. I mean, you have the extra drive, you know. So when it comes to, for example, like, so I noticed that when I do have that passion and all that, you tend to you try to push yourself too much. So I really have to admit, sometimes at one point, I was raising the bar so high that when I don't hit that bar in a certain month, I get sad. I get a bit affected. I'll be like, oh no, did I fail for that month? But when actual fact, I just think back to what happened end of 2018, my plan was just to earn a small amount of money so that it doesn't disturb my gaji from my daily job. So sometimes I think you always need to have a check and balance and post-mortem yourself, and also not, you know, your passion and your love should not cause a burnout. So that's my most important, because it's very difficult, like now with COVID and all that, your mental health should be taken care of at all times. So don't let what you love or your entrepreneurship journey make you feel like, oh, this is so stressful, I cannot manage and all that. So that's just one tip I want to share. Yeah.
Right. How about you, Edmond? What are your essentials?
So the top 3 essentials to start a business. There's 3 things, right? To me, there's 3 things. PMS, purpose, mentors, and sales. And I say purpose as the first one really is because it was very strange, if let's say we talk about EduNation, right? Free tuition for every Malaysian child, Khan Academy existed for a decade already, and no such alternatives existed for Malaysian students. But throughout my entire journey with EduNation, which I left a few years ago, by the way, my entire journey with EduNation, I keep getting people coming up to me and saying, I had the same idea. I wanted to do that. I wanted to put the whole Malaysian school syllabus online, free for everyone to use. And I keep hearing the same thing over and over, but no one ever did it. And I think the reason is because it was hard. It was actually really hard to get started. And the only reason why we could was really because the ghost of John was haunting me. I mean, John was literally, Edmond, why did you leave me? Why did you come back? And so, and that really, really disturbed me. And that really gave me the purpose for a year and a half, I was trying to raise funds. I couldn't raise the money to do EduNation. I went to this college and I was, this woman was, this head of branding and marketing was 30 minutes late, rushed into the door, wrong, looked at me and said, what do you want? I was like, okay, so, I mean, you see, starting a business is difficult, right? So for me particularly, I had to have a good reason. And because I had the ghost of John chasing after me, I had that purpose. The second is mentors. It is very hard to start a business. And chances are when you start a business, it's going to be somewhat new for you. You've never done it before. You really need mentors. People have walked that path before. That would really, really increase your chance of success because they will help guide you away from all the landmines that are very obvious to mentors because they've already stepped on it. It's probably their 10th time trying to play the game, trying to go through the minefield, when it's your first time, right? And the third is sales. You really, really need cash flow. I've seen so many new businesses, small businesses really struggle because they don't have the cash flow. They focus on all sorts of things that, I have a friend who's right now, and the guy won't listen to me because he's my best friend, right? Who's just obsessed about his logo, I mean, the guy is just going on and on, want to no, hello, dude, please get some money into your business. So three things: PMS, purpose, mentors, and sales. Really get that cash flow running. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for that shortcut PMS for everybody to remember. Now let's hear from Azlan's perspective.
Okay. For me, the three things that you need, assuming that you are starting a for-profit business, is product, a viable product, and an avenue to sell it. That is the first thing. You need, simply put, you need something that people are willing to pay for. So if you think along these lines, it gets easier. It's easy to get confused. You try to get something fancy, but you just need to have something that people are willing to pay for, and you need a place where you can sell it. This place can be online. This place can be a shop, or I don't know what other avenue are there. So if you have these two, then you are, to me, already one-third set to start a business. And then secondly is, of course, some capital, because you can't just start things out of nowhere. Anything needs money in this world, so you need some access to finance. And not just that, you need to be on top of your finances. What it means to me is, like I'm an accountant, so I tend to think in terms of income and expenses, assets and liabilities, debit, credit, that sort of thing. It can be a bit dry, but it gives you a very good sense of the business. Because if your business is about creating money, then you need to know what is it, because you can't see money in physically, right? So you need to know what are your, let's say for example, your fixed costs, what are your variable costs, what is what quantity that you need to sell every month in order to break even. These kind of things are like basic finances. You don't need to be a professional accountant to know this kind of things. You probably learn it in high school or college, right? So I think the second thing of being on top of finances is also very important. And third thing is some marketing effort. you can have a very wonderful product, and you know what's going on in your business. You're on top of everything, but the world doesn't know about your business. Nobody heard of your brand, so it's pointless still. So I'm still very bad at marketing because I'm an accountant. So I'm still working. I'm still learning. Marketing is about telling the world about your brand, telling the world about your product, creating that image in their head. They call it branding also these days. So you need to have some work in that, but that can come later after you figure out the first one. Of course, the first one to me is what you need to start, and also some capital. That's all from me.
Right, thank you so much for the panelists. They really gave us a perspective and a scope of what to look forward to if you want to start your own business. So now we're done with the discussion. Now we'll move on to the Q&A session where we'll be answering all of your questions. All right, so the first question here is, it's a bit long, but let me just break it down. I hear about entrepreneurs making mistakes and having failures all the time. They usually say experiment and fail fast to move on. It is really better to have mistakes and failures, or best to prevent that. Based on your experiences, will it look better if an entrepreneur had a few failed startups or none at all, assuming both currently have a successful startup? So I believe this question, I think Edmond can chime in on it, and then Dayana and Azlan, feel free to join because Edmond talked about failures just now. So Edmond, what is your perspective like for an entrepreneur? Oh, you're muted, Edmond.
Yeah. Oh, it's good because you didn't hear my groan just now. I'm sorry, like guys. When as a first-time entrepreneur, and my first startup was in 2009 when I started a corporate training company and we did public speaking training and things like that. I'm sorry lah, I was so bodoh lah. I mean, as a first-time entrepreneur, it's really so bodoh, you know. If I tell you the mistakes, you'll be like, like that also you don't know. Things like I started a corporate training company, and I've never trained a single day in my life. I just wanted to make a difference in people's lives. I was so desperate to do that it's like starting an accounting firm and don't know how to count. Or starting an English language learning center and your English not very good. It was like that, you know. And I did it. And somehow managed to convince an investor to give us 100,000 ringgit to start. So I know I can sell, but I struggled with that business for so many years. Really so bodoh. So, and so when I meet first-time entrepreneurs, right, I know what they're going through. I empathize, but I also know they're very bodoh lah. And that doesn't mean that I look down at first-time entrepreneurs. I really admire them, but I know that they're going to make a lot of mistakes. Chances are they'll fail. I mean, not always, but chances are, the majority of the time, they will fail. Their second business is going to be better, right? Because they've already made so many mistakes. It's so obvious to any other entrepreneur, except for the first-time entrepreneur. The third business, even better, right? And by the time they get to the fourth, fifth business, or whatever it is, I know that they have failed so much, learned so much, right? That VCs, by the way, really like entrepreneurs who have failed many times, because they know that you have gotten smarter from that. There's this story of this pilot who almost crash landed because there was this technician, right, who filled the wrong fuel in his plane, right? So he almost crash landed, managed to save the plane, came back down, told the technician, say, you filled in the wrong fuel. And the technician was so, he's so panicked, it's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But you know what? The pilot didn't fire the guy. You know why? Because the technician will never make the same mistake ever again. And so, please, please fail, please make your mistakes, but try not to crash a plane lah.
Right. Anything from Dayana or Azlan where you can talk about as a form of first-time entrepreneur perspective, like your experience with mistakes and failures?
To me, I like the analogy of learning to ride a bicycle. Like the default is not riding, or the default is failing. So you shouldn't be surprised that you're failing to ride a bicycle. And of course the goal is not to ride a bicycle. So you should make success your goal, as opposed to failure. But you understand that by default you should fall by default because of gravity, right? So it's about learning to be successful, and understanding that failure is only part of the process, just like falling is part of learning how to ride a bicycle. That's my input.
Dayana, anything?
Okay, for me, if I may share, actually, I don't remember talking about this business. I mean, it just came to my mind when Edmond spoke about first business in 2009. Okay, 2009, that was my SPM year. So after SPM, while waiting for my results, okay, Edmond, you
What? Am I the oldest guy in this room?
It's okay. Penting young at heart. It's okay.
Oh, thank you. Ya, itu memang betul.
Yeah, it's okay.
Really, I thought I'm the oldest.
It's a competition now.
So just to share with everyone, at that point, my parents were like, no more allowance. You finish school, Di. So I was like, okay. But then I grew up in Melaka. So I stayed in Aikro, So after the toll, after the zoo turn right, that's my taman, okay. So but all the places where everyone was going to work was like in town, Bandar Hilir, all that. So but my parents, because I'm the only daughter, so they were like, what kind of part-time job you want to do? I mean, like, you want to drive, you'll be very worried and all that. So I was thinking, what can I do? And at that time, 2009, there was no Lazada, no Shopee, nothing, okay. So it was not easy to even start an online business. But what I did was I just started with my relatives and my parents, because we realized that at one point they were like, hey, okay lah, since you're home and you're super free, help to audit the house and see what we can give away or something. Then I was like, no lah, some things are still in such good condition. Why just don't? I mean, okay, yes, there are certain things we can donate, of course. But I was thinking, I said, not trying to be so materialistic or money-minded, yeah. But I was thinking, what if I can help sell all these items and I get a commission on it? And I had just finished SPM at that point. So, and they were like, try lah. So, I started a Mudah account, mudah.my. I think it's still being used now. So mudah.my. And I helped to sell like all my mom's like fossil handbags, some of my auntie's designer handbags, and my dad's Crocs. Because at one point, people were into all these Crocs shoes, and then and they're all still in very good condition. And I noticed that, and at that point, okay, I didn't have my own bank account. I didn't, and through Mudah's website, at that point, you have to understand there was no WhatsApp, no Insta messaging, sangat kind of thing. So it was very, it was a very different era back then. So what I did was I was helping, basically being a mini carousel kind of thing. So, and it was really fun, because I noticed that it gave me the flexibility to just stay at home, being in front of my computer. So when I'm not layaning Mudah.my and talking to people, I'm either playing games or catching up with other friends or something. But it was really fun, and at that point, that's when I learned customer service, that's when I would receive calls, people receiving their items and be like, how come this was not shown? There was a scratch. How come you cheat me? Everything. So at that point, I was like, at 17, I was like, oh, okay, and then having to deal with, okay, yes, I'm so sorry for that. I'll be willing to give you a refund or something, or I can arrange to get it back from you and all that. But I have to explain. I said, look, this is secondhand. The item is 5 years old, so, and you've got it at like only 40% of the original price kind of thing. So being able to learn all that, and there were a lot of failures, because I noticed there were a lot of things about, I've never been to a post laju office at that point. So learning all this logistics issues, packaging, everything. And even at one point I was thinking, do I need to do branding? Do I need to come up with some kind of shop details or everything? So it was really fun. And that's when you get introduced. And I think it's always good to start and be really open to whatever feedback or whatever you're going to go through. I mean, I would like to say you should start young, but I think at any point in time you can start a business or anything, and you will go through certain things, but you will learn a lot from your first, because you're just like, let's just go, I mean, let's just go to the deep end and learn, and make sure you always keep in mind of those experiences, because all those actually helped me to be a better entrepreneur later on. Like when I was in photography and right now in Nyonya Kain, you really tend to, you're so used to it and you know how to adapt and how to fix those kind of issues as well. And also, I think, also to share with everyone, like for some of you who are, let's say, trying to get your first job, or for some of you who, let's say, they are like students after school or college and you're trying to get scholarship, please talk about your entrepreneurship background. Like if I may share with everyone, right now I'm serving my bond with my company. So after SPM, I actually applied for a scholarship. And when I applied at that time, it was for like MARA, JPA, and a few other entities. And they all were so interested about the entrepreneurship experience, because, you know, it's either entrepreneurship or volunteering. So sometimes, I mean, but then when you, in how somehow people will say, no, we want to see what you're good academically wise and all that. But trust me, no, like right now, a lot of businesses, a lot of employers, future employers, they want to see how versatile you are. Not just your GPA is 4.0, not just that you were president or head prefect or something. No, like a lot of other things make you a more all-rounded person. So the one thing I want to credit my first entrepreneurship journey was that landed me my scholarship, to be very honest. Not just my result SPM or whatever, but that I remember the interviewer was talking like at least about 15 minutes, just asking me everything about that. And later on when I met her, when I started work at the company, she was like, we'll never forget your experience selling it at 18 years old, you know. So just keep in mind that, everyone.
So entrepreneurship is a stepping stone to get scholarship. Now we know. All right. So now we'll go on to the next question. We talk about mistakes. So now people want to know, is there a way to identify red flags in the business that we should start changing strategy to save it? Or rather, what issues are red flags and what issues are just a passing phase of the business? Maybe Dayana, you can start off by sharing on that.
Red flags, I think in terms of, it's also an aspect of how do you coin that red flag. I think for example, COVID is now such a big topic. So I think when it comes to, you need to, I think it comes back to my earlier issue about how when you have to have plans, you know, and like how, you know, if I may chime in about how, you know, Azlan was talking about accounting policies, and you need to have your finances on top. You need to know how much cash you're bleeding every month and how are you doing with like your other overheads and everything. That's very important. So I guess, like, for example, when COVID happened, everybody just didn't know how to maneuver around this. We don't know how long the MCO was going to be like, when is the vaccine coming, when is it safe, which malls are safe to go, and suddenly when there's a positive case, that's it, your sales are gone and everything. So it's like, it's a matter of being prepared beforehand. I mean, I'm not saying you should overthink it, but you should always have certain measures or goals. When you feel like, okay, like, you know, I'm bleeding, I'm losing out more than a certain percentage that you can handle, then you should know when to take steps. Do you then stop taking more stock or stop producing more things? And then how do you handle it? You know, either you can always engage professionals, like how, you know, Edmond was saying, mentors. You know, people who have done it, been there, done that, you know, they would be the best people to engage and talk to and find out, how do I get out of this, or what do I do, you know? Or even if your own self, if you feel like there are certain things that, if it just doesn't feel right, you know, if you feel like, oh, something's just not, you know, why are sales dropping, why are this? So there's a lot of coming back to that post-mortem factor. So just to reanalyze that, what went wrong, or what are the issues that you can look into, kind of thing. And I think it's just more of always having a certain amount of measures and to look at them at the end of every month. I think that's what I do, just to see, okay, how I did and what can be done, kind of thing. But in terms of red flags, I think I wouldn't have, in my encountering in Nyonya Kain, there weren't any serious red flags, but it was just more of like, oh, sales dip or something. But it was always, I felt there was always an explanation to it. And I think when you don't have an explanation, that's when you really need to start digging down and see, okay, what else could have happened? Yeah. So that's for me, like maybe Edmond and Azlan can share a bit more about that. Yeah.
Okay. For me, a red flag on your product could be not getting repeat customer. So if you constantly not getting anyone to come again, And I'm not saying that you should get repeat customer all the time. It's quite rare, I mean, for a startup. But if someone buys and then give you a negative feedback and doesn't buy again, and these things keep on repeating, then there is something fundamentally wrong with your product, I guess. In my case, if it's ice cream, maybe it's not good at all. So there is a very glaring red flag to me in terms of the product. Financially also, you can look at costing. You shouldn't be running at gross loss. What I'm saying is you shouldn't be selling something that costs you more than the revenue that you get. So even though if you scale, even though if you get more quantity, you just be making more loss. So this is also another red flag. If you look at your costing and you're looking at a gross loss situation, what can be seen as a mere passing phase, to me is financially also looking financially is when you have gross profit, but you are just struggling with the quantity, the volume. So this problem can be fixed with with marketing, with more selling efforts, for example. So which is very common for small businesses, because you're not supposed to like start something on social media and people just go crazy over your product. There's a lot of work to be done to reach out to people. But if you know that for every transaction you make, you're making some profit, that is good enough indication financially for you to go on. Yep, that's my 2 cents.
All right, Azlan, can you share a bit, because you talk about ice cream, right? And because you had no background in making ice cream, you just wanted to find an alternative. Could you share with the audience about a little bit about how did you know when to stop when you're experimenting with your ice cream or creating a new product? Was there like a place, like a red flag, or you know that, okay, I've reached a point where I've tried, let me just pivot and try doing something else, or a new flavor, for example? Did you have that kind of experience?
Yes, I had no idea how to make ice cream before I decided to do this. So it's more like make the decision and then I only learn how to make it. But thankfully now on the internet, you can YouTube pretty much anything, how to whatever, and you can Google how to do this, how to do that. So if you're curious and open-minded enough, you can sort of like figure out what is the common thing you need to figure out. So for me, I would call it ice cream chemistry, food chemistry. So I sort of like understand, okay, so you need a bit of fats and a bit of sugar and all that stuff. So I do also testing, experimenting, meaning I do a batch and then I give people to taste it. So I trust my own intuition, but if other people tell me it's not good, and in this case, you need to have someone who's honest with you, not just trying to be nice. So it's good to have someone close to you, for example, your mother or mother-in-law, try a product, and then if they say this is not good enough, then don't take it too hard, because you're not trying to impress anyone here. You're just coming out with a product, right? So you just go back to square one. Just try it again. I try to identify. You can put it more like a method like, this doesn't work, try something else. This doesn't work, don't repeat it. Try something else. Yeah.
Right, thank you, Azlan. Edmond, anything to share about red flags?
I think Azlan and Dayana talked about business red flags. I will talk about the red flags that really has disturbed me, I think, the most out of any other red flags. And I think it's partner related. I mean, not my current partner, because she's my wife and she's fantastic. But you know what? I've had pretty crazy crap happen. For example, we were in our honeymoon when my business partner totally changed the direction of where the company was headed, and he waited until I went to a honeymoon for that. I mean, talk to me lah, right? You know, let's hash it out. Let's discuss it. And so, to me, it's really, really important that we find partners who have the same values as we do, and what I mean by that is, for example, for Smolpotato, we actually have 2 new partners coming in, and we're actually very comfortable with them because over the months we found that they have the same values as us. They actually want to help small businesses, and not only talk, they've actually physically tried to help they're actually even doing it. They've even started their own startup trying to help small businesses. And they're not primarily profit driven, although of course profit to us is important. And so all these values, all our values line up, lah, right? And also so happens that their daughter and our cat got same name, lah. So it's very important that we have partners that have the same values. If not same, really don't even start. And so my biggest red flags are when partners stop communicating, when partners start feeling unhappy but don't want to say it out loud, when they're not honest with you. Those are really the biggest red flags, because in an instant, right, your entire business could just totally change overnight if our partners are not aligned with us.
I think Edmond answered the next question actually that someone asked is about choosing a business partner. I think Azlan, you could chime in a bit about that also, because your business partner is your wife as well. So how was it like getting maybe a partner as a business partner, or what to look for if someone is looking for a business partner?
I think you need to have someone that wants to see you win. That's very important. It's not someone who just thinks for him or herself. What I can say is shared vision. So we need someone that wants to grow together. So you want to have someone also with compatibility. Like you can work together. You don't have much communication problems. These are the traits that I would look for, lah. But in my case, so far, I didn't have any situation where I have to pick a partner. But I do think building a team of committed individuals is very, very important. Committed in a way that their goals are tied to your business's goal. So it's all aligned.
All right, so now we can move on to the next question. Someone asked, how do you price your products? Because they say, I'm afraid if I were to start a business, my prices would be perceived to be too expensive when it's actually reasonable.
When no one buys, then it's too expensive, lah. I mean, right? I mean, when no one buying, it's obviously too expensive, right? People don't think it's the same. It's valuable enough to pay you that kind of money. So you have two things to do, right? You either lower your price or increase your value. So,
True. I think. Sorry, I'm talking about accounting again. There's a way called the cost plus method, which is you figure out what is your cost, and then is the margin that you want to make. So you know that you won't price it any lower than your cost, because it's just charity, right? Unless you engage in charity, that's fine. But if you want to you're thinking about pricing your product, you should lay out your cost first, and then you think of what is the reasonable margin to make out of this. Of course, like Edmond say, anyone wants to price it as high as possible if people are willing to pay for it. But unfortunately, there's this thing called competition out there. So which brings in the second factor, which is benchmarking. Like for me, vegan ice cream is unique, but not that unique anymore. So I don't have the monopoly out there to price it as I may, but I have my cost. So you can look out there. What's other of your competitors are selling it, and you can price it in between cost plus and also some benchmarking.
If I may share, I think in terms of pricing, right? I think in terms of I think what Edmond and Azlan said are very true. Like I think benchmarking and also looking costing wise and everything, and also coming to like I think now, like for example, my products. If I may share one, because when I first started in 2019, I basically hopped from different bazaars to different types, different locations. So like I was just briefly sharing with the other panelists earlier, like I could be at Jaya 1 and get really good sales and feedback and repeat customers. But when I tried once, like to Sunway Velocity, my product did not sell very well at all. Like the crowd there, they would swarm all the different shops there, like the Padini, MNG, everything, you know, FOS and all that, and all the food stuff. But when it comes to batik, like they're very hesitant, or they are not aware, or maybe it's just a different target market. So like, for example, when I go to Bangsa Shopping Center, it's slow. There's not crowds of people coming in. But when they look at your item, they love it. They will pay you with like a few $100 notes, and it's fine. They don't even bother asking for a discount. They don't even bother to ask if got offer, or they don't even bother to comment on saying like, oh, this is very pricey, you know, you shouldn't price like this. They don't do that. So, but at the same time, you need to be patient, because it's not, like I said, it's not like a huge crowd where people are just walking past by everything. But people appreciate, and if they like it, means they'll take it without anything said, you know. But then, like, one example I remember, 2019, Nyonya Kain was very privileged to be part of Artbox, the second round in 2019 in Sunway. So we were the only batik and like local handicraft booth there. But I was really surprised that the feedback, the response there was not the same. I'm not sure whether it was just because earlier Artbox, the first time around, was crazy. You know, the queue was all the way up to like Sunway Pyramid. So I was thinking, if it's going to be that good, you know, every day I can hopefully go back with a lot of stock sold. But the crowd was very different. And you know, I have a little pile, a box. Those who have come to my bazaar will be quite familiar. Like, where it's just a ringgit box. So you have like scrunchies, you have like batik pouches, wallets. Okay, wallets, they are made from cardboard, but we cover it up with nice batik fabrics, and you can close it up and there's a button, okay? And we sell that for ringgit. And I have people coming to me holding the wallet for like 2-3 minutes and then saying that, this one, you shouldn't price at 5. I think 350 now, you know. And you know how sad is it to hear that sometimes? And this is a Sunway crowd, okay? So I was quite shocked, and I was thinking, okay, I'm never gonna go around to Sunway area, because that's not my target market. I mean, they don't appreciate. So like the people who are selling like nice t-shirts and, you know, expensive, you know, the bubble tea shop was sold out every day for those 3 days. But like for batik, unfortunately, they're not, you know, and in fact, you got really negative comments like, "Ayo, Malaysia so hot, why you bother making this kind of product?" So I guess it's a lot of targeting as well. Like, if you know, for example, if you know your product works in certain areas, keep going for that. If you know your product works with like fresh grads or young people, trendier people, then go for that. Like, you know, I feel there's no where, I mean, yes. For example, if you're Apple, your product fits, your phone fits for every single mass group, you know, as long as they can afford it, they'll use it, you know. But like for Nyonya Kain, for batik, you know, if you feel like, for me, I felt there were certain markets where I just cannot tap. Like, for example, some men, I cannot, how to say, like for the men market, you know, for males, there are certain products that they cannot wear, or it's not targeted to them. So slowly along the way, you'll just realize, okay, what works, what doesn't work. But if you feel that there's something you keep doing is constantly right, keep doing it. Because all in all, you know, whatever that works, you just keep focusing on that, and then it'll be, how to say, that will at least give you more indication and more sales as well. Because I think at that point, when you're doing all your targeting and also all this research, you know, don't do it too long. Like, if you're, you know, checking out on different things, if something doesn't work, don't go to it. Like for me, I wouldn't go to Artbox, but I'll keep on going to the places that I know I can be successful. So I think that's one point of business where keep on doing what's right, and then whatever that has failed or whatever that has done, that's it. Learn from it, be gone with it. Yeah.
All right, thank you for that. Then we can move on to the next question. This is, I think Janelle asked this question to Azlan, but the other panelists, feel free to chime in on it if you have something to say. I think one thing that might plague young entrepreneurs to be, or just be, is impatience. There is a false notion of being successful before turning a certain age. Could you share about your journey from the start of your business intention until its realization, and then the starting signs of the business showing some success? How long did it take?
For me, the decision that I wanted to make vegan ice cream was very straightforward and very fast, as I shared earlier. So what was hard after that was coming out with the product, because I was not an ice cream maker before, and then recipes for these kind of things are not available, not very established out there. So I spent almost 5 months just experimenting in the kitchen. So it's a lot of trial and error. I know that my ice cream can always be improved over time. So to me, I didn't have to start with the perfect product, but it just have to be at a certain standard. When you have something to a certain standard that people are willing to pay, then I think it's also very important. If you want to start a business, you just launch it first, and then that works for me. So and then only you figure out how to improve it further, do things better and better. I was struggling a lot financially also, and to get sales, because you don't just create your own brand out of social media and then expect everyone to go crazy about it. So, and then what actually helped for me was having the support, moral support from family and friends. So I think you also need to surround yourself with people that gives you positive affirmation, like, hey, come on, you can do this. You already come up with an ice cream that most people say is nice. Don't give up now. So for me, even for the first 2 years, I still struggle financially, even hard to make enough profit to pay my bills and all that. But if you just persist, in my case, starting from the 3rd year onwards, then I started to see a constant profit, and with that more growth, then I could also focus on other things that overdue. Like, let's say I need to make my social media better. I need to take better photos. Maybe Dayana can help me with this.
No problem, anytime.
Yeah, take better photos, and then I want to engage with my followers better, things like that. But for me, it was tough, and it has been almost 4 years right now to get where Kelava is right now.
Right. Hope that answers your question, Janelle. Dayana or Edmond, do you have anything to add on to that?
I think if I may just share, right? I think okay, I'm not a K-pop fan, but I watched the Blackpink special on Netflix today. And if you notice, right now you see them so meletup and so successful. But if you look at the grit, the determination, the dedication of their practicing and their hard work every single day for how many years? So I think a lot of times, there's this one poster I remember where, the iceberg, everybody just sees the tip. They don't see what's submerged under the water, under the icy cold depths. A lot of things that you see on social media and a lot of things that you see in the press or even anywhere that people are sharing are all the positive things, which comes back to sometimes, every one of us on social media. So we don't post where, oh, no sales, or we don't post where, oh, it's just been a depressing week. We don't do that. So sometimes I think you have to really understand that there's always a lot of hard work and a lot of things done before you can achieve that level of satisfaction or success that people see, or you yourself feel that is your level of success. So in terms of, it could be how many years, how many months, how many days or anything, but it's always that I mean, I just remember that Blackpink concert, because everybody was talking about how actually it took them years to achieve that, so and that is them practicing every single day. So what about us? Like for me, sometimes that's when I think like, 6 months or so, I feel like, am I doing the right thing and all that? So it's always good to kind of take a step back and see what's happening, and you see what's your threshold, or what's your determination, or what do you want in this whole thing? Like, is it worth, you want that level of success, but are you putting the level of effort that is needed? Yeah.
Edmond, anything to add on?
So it's a very difficult question to answer, Janelle, because you're asking about being successful before a certain age. But I think the reality is that I think for most of us, right, we are going to fail more spectacularly than you can ever imagine. I mean, we're going to suck so bad, And really that's just the reality of it. So when I turned 30, right, I was feeling very, I didn't think it hit me. I didn't think it affected me, but the day I turned 30, I felt depressed. I was like, what the heck did I do with my life? My business is not going well. I haven't achieved anything. So I just turned 40 a few months ago. And I'm perfectly happy with myself now. I'm like, sorry, happy is not the word. Contented is the word. Because in spite all these crazy ups and downs, partner betrayals, losing money, going broke all over again, and all of that story, right? I feel that I have something that most people don't have. And in spite of my entire world falling apart around me, right, there is still this deep sense of inner peace. Like I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? I'm living I'm going down this path that's true to me. It's exactly what I want to do. And that gives me such inner peace, you know. So coming back to Janelle's question, right? Turning successful before a certain age, sure. I mean, dream big, of course, right? Dream big, right? You only have one life to live. Dream the crazy dreams. But you know what? Even if you are a spectacular failure going down this path, it's okay, because at the end of the day, you look back at your life and you have zero regrets and you feel at peace with what you are and what you're doing. And I think that is more than $1 million in the bank.
Hey, thank you for sharing so much. Now I've answered Janelle's question. We can move on to Leon's question. So this is directed to Dayana. When you were sharing, he wanted to know more about how did you learn to divide your time for your corporate job and business? And as Edmond has commented, entrepreneurs have 26 hours in a day. Is that true?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So it's not easy. It's really not easy. But I find, okay, like for example, at one point, okay, right now with COVID, working from home kind of makes things a bit less stressful, because like at least I could kind of take in Nyonya Kain related meetings during lunchtime, or even like after work. For the moment, like I'm done with my office job meetings and everything, then it's like 6:30 onwards. It's like, okay, Nyonya Kain, what do I need to do? What submissions do I need to do and everything? So, but and then like but it's but but at the same time, you need to be committed to both. Like for me, my day job is technically, that is my sole, how to say, my first priority as well. And Nyonya Kain is my hobby / side hustle and passion as well. So, but at the same time, you need to also make sure you manage, especially, okay, for some of us who are doing your corporate job and all that, I think my main message is that please just be mindful of also like the code of conduct and all those things, because at the same time, it is very, some employers, yes, as much as they encourage all this versatility and your passion to do other things in your side business, do not let it encroach in your official time. You could get into trouble as well, so, and then make sure you get the necessary approvals. Like for me, I was very upfront with like, okay, I'm applying, I'm going to submit my, and I've officially got like my chairman to sign and say, okay, I've applied for everything already. So that's very important one. And second, when it comes to dividing your time, so it's more of like, I noticed that like sometimes work, corporate job, it can be up and down. So there's some weeks when it's like really crazy. I noticed that since the effort put in is a bit less into Nyonya Kain, so I take responsibility for the fact that maybe there's less engagement on my social media, sales a bit less, but it's okay, because I know that I was a bit prioritizing a little bit more on my day job, so it's fine. But when it comes to, so like and somehow, like sometimes even I like to go and like sometimes just go and take myself out, pamper myself out. So sometimes like when I'm having a meal or anything, I think you kind of squeeze in all these little times to do your side business or everything. Or like weekends, like for me, my weekends, Saturday or Sunday is the day where I have two interns, or my girls basically. I love them to bits and pieces. So they will come over and help me because the stocks are all in my bedroom. See? Every day, my in front of my bed, that's my stock. So every day I wake up, I'm like, okay, I need to sort this out as well, you know. So every time when they come over, so one day of my weekend is always used up for Nyonya Kain, and that's fine because we have a lot of fun anyways. You know, we're makan everything, and it's very satisfying. You know, when you finally bring your product. I'm sure, like for all the other entrepreneurs, when you see like the sales and the engagement, you can finally have the time to sit down and talk to your stakeholders, your customers, and all that. So that's very, very fulfilling, you know. And then like one thing I want to share, the importance. Okay, in terms of managing my time, what has helped was a website. So just to share with everyone, when I started since COVID, so that started in March. That was when I had to go on digital. I had no idea how to do. I mean, we have never done an online business sort of style. It was always just, okay, if you're interested, please come to our bazaar this weekend or something. So I never really went to, you know, had to post out items and all that. So that only started the moment MCO happened. So, and then that was kelang kabut trying to, okay, I first used Telegram to show my stock and everybody orders through Instagram. But I found it was a bit distracting because if somebody messages you at 4 o'clock and you're in your company, your corporate job meeting, right? And, you know, if let's say my girls are not able to respond, or even I'm busy and I can't give direction and all that, right? That split second, you don't entertain your customer, right? That could be one sale lost. So I noticed that, but at one point I was like, okay, you know, so a website was on the way to go, but I had the misconception that having a website and, you know, having to develop it and run it was expensive. And I have no clue on web design, web development, and managing a website. But not to promote any platform here, but I use Shopline. So, and I noticed that I think all the other brands, companies, web design developers along that site, they all have a very simple, how to say, plan. So, and I didn't know that for $50 a month, you could actually come up with your own website. You have your own domain. So I actually got my dream website, which is www.nyonyakain.com. And actually, so me and my girls, you know, we became web developers within 2 days, okay, learning on YouTube, going through the manuals and all that. And it has helped me a lot. So we launched it 11/11/2020 last year. And that has been such a good help because you don't need to be constantly glued to your Instagram, okay? And you can literally just, so that saves a lot of time. So I could be out having dinner at like Mabuk, having my biryani or something, and then there's a sale come in. I'm like, oh, okay, everything, you know. So instead of me having, you know, it was very distracting because, and I think I noticed people didn't like it because I'm out with my family or sometimes I'm out with friends, and then I'm like, hey, sorry, hold on, somebody asking about 3 products. So, and then people are like, okay, you settle that first, you know. So, and I felt like, oh, this is just not right. I don't want to be that kind of person, you know, at business engagements and all that. So that was one of my things that helped. And I think time management, that is very, very important. And lots of coffee. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dayana, for answering that question. We're actually running a bit behind. I mean, like we're taking a bit too much time, and because you guys have been sharing a lot of good insight, and our audience have been asking a lot of questions. Yeah, so I think for moving forward, I will be asking one tauke at a time for one question so that we could answer everybody's question given the time we have. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for everybody who sent in all their questions. The next question will be from Jada towards asking Edmond this question: How do we make our business stand out if we want to start a business in a saturated market?
Well, actually, one way to do that, right, Jada, is stop thinking about what products you're going to sell and start thinking about who you're going to help, right? Because, okay, so that's one. Stop thinking about what product you're going to sell and start thinking about who you're going to help. So that's one. And 2 is to figure out, actually, right, how many customers do you actually really need? Because like for Pew Pew, for example, right, if we have 2 big customers, actually, it's okay, you know, the cash flow will sustain us and even fund our other startup, Smolpotato. And 2 customers, that means, right, we can really, really specialize, you know. That means we can say, we don't want anyone to become our customer, just 2, right? And so we can really, really select. And so what we did at Pew Pew is we really selected and we said, we only help purpose-driven businesses. We only help businesses who want to change the world, because that's it, right? And that's enough to sustain us. And so if you want to start a small business, right, you don't have to think about, oh, how do we get into a market that's so saturated? No, think about people you really want to help, and then you spend all your energy trying to help them. I'll give you an example, right? You notice in MCorp Mall, there's like all these numismatics, right? These coin shops sell coins. And you wonder, how big can a business be selling coins? Well, the business doesn't have to be very big. They just have to have a handful of really regular clients, and they can make already very good money. So you don't have to think about appealing to everyone. Just think about appealing and helping a small group of people. And this could be, by the way, in our case too, for you, it may be 10 or 100. And if that's the case, right, you can really, really, really specialize in a specific group of people, which, by the way, the bigger companies will never do, because they will never specialize to help a small group of people. And as a small business, even if you have a small group of people as your customers, that's already good enough for you.
That's a really good tip. I think a lot of people expect to have a lot of customers when they first start, and it's good to know how do you scale your business. I think we can move on to the last question for the Q&A, which I think all three panelists should chime in on it, because it's a very very personal question. Someone asked, how do I overcome the who am I to start this business thoughts?
This is like Jackie Chan, right? That movie, what's that? Who am I?
Okay. Maybe Edmond, you can share first, since it sparked some nostalgia of Jackie Chan.
Actually, can you rephrase the question again? Who's asking this?
It's a pre-submitted question, but someone asked, how do I overcome the who am I to start this business thoughts?
Wait, who am I as in I'm just a small ikan bilis kuchi red.
Yes.
Why am I to start? Okay,
Who
it's not
am
an
I to
identity
start in
crisis.
Yeah, it's not identity crisis.
I mean, the reality is you're no one lah.
No.
I mean, I'm no one. You are no one.
Yeah.
And really taken individually, we're all no one lah. I mean, really, we'll drop in the ocean, right? But what we're forgetting is that the power really comes together when we come together as people to say we want change, we want to make this better, right? So really, if you're thinking about starting a business and you're wondering who am I to start, it's true lah. I mean, that's a very valid thought. You're no one lah. The power comes when you start working with other people. The power comes when you come together and say, let's do this, let's make this happen. And you start influencing and inspiring people to take up the cause with you, right? And when you get another person, suddenly, hey, your business is transformed. You just get one other person in, right? Your business is totally transformed. Then you have 2, then you have 3, then you have 4. Next thing you know, you have 10 employees, 20 employees, and they're all excited. And yeah, so correct, you're no one, but when you put at least another one of you, you suddenly become someone.
Thank you for that, Edmond. How about you, Azlan? Any thoughts of did you have that kind of doubt when you first started your business?
Yes, I think it's a question of self-doubt, which I regularly face when, if I see someone doing something cool, like playing the piano, I always say, like, can I do that? I might not be talented enough to do it, but when it comes to doing a business, you have to realize that you only have to start small and have very achievable goals. So this one, I think everyone can do. It's not like because people tend to think, oh, you having a startup, so people expect you to be like the next Tony Fernandez something. Why haven't you made your first million yet? Or why are you not like Bill Gates? Because you call yourself an entrepreneur. But the truth is, you don't really need to be someone. In fact, all this someone started off being nobody also, and because they focus on what they can achieve, what are the achievable goals. So if you focus on what you can do instead of all these seemingly impossible place you want to reach, then you will never get there. So I think you can overcome this thought by like, okay, what do I need to do? I need to sell some ice cream. How much of ice cream this month? Get it done. And then what is the next thing to be done? So focus on small achievable goals. Then you can overcome this self-doubt.
Thank you for that, Azlan. How about you, Dayana?
Okay, I think I might have a different angle to it. I think for me, I think it comes down to, in the end, when you do your business, whose happiness are you more concerned about? Or whose, how to say, gratification or satisfaction are you looking for? So if it was me, you know, I mean, you do get all this doubt and people, like how I was earlier sharing, you know, like comments, and, you know, sometimes you make you feel like, oh, you know, I'm not someone with design background, I'm not a fashion design, you know, I'm not someone who was brought up with local arts and all that. But at the same time, in the end, right, who are you trying to please? Like, yes, of course, doing a business, yes, you need to, you know, cater to your customers and bring happiness, satisfaction, and I would say everything for them. But at the same time, in the end, you know, you're doing this for your own purpose also, your own contentment, your own, you know, satisfaction that, okay, I've done something and I'm happy about it, I'm proud about it. I can safely say, oh, I've done it. You know, that is my business. You know, I'm so proud of it. I'm sure all of us here, especially the panelists, you know, that we can safely say that, yeah, you know, I've founded this, I've done this and done that. So in the end, I mean, instead of asking, you know, who am I, you know, I think I would constantly ask, like, am I proud of that? Am I happy with what I did? Am I, can I live with the decision that I made? Or can I, making this decision or taking this option, taking this route, taking this plan, you know, what does it do for me first? So I think when it comes to, because in the end, you know, I'm not saying you need to be selfish, but in the end, you know, you will never be happy if you live just trying to please everyone else but yourself. So, and I think that has been something very personal to me. I mean, I've tried to live by that, because in the end, when you do something and you try to please everybody around you and you try to fit every single angle, and you tend to deviate from your original plan or your purpose or the actual plan of your business, and then even you may get to feeling a bit more doubtful about yourself. So for me, it's always, I think instead of asking myself, who am I? I'm just, you know, I try to imagine like, okay, it comes back to just me first. Like, am I happy about it? What do I think about it? And if I feel I feel that is the path that I rather live with, then so be it. You know, but if in the event that you do, but it's not wrong to always have, self-reflection. You know, it's always good to see like, okay, who am I in terms of like, oh, you know, like we're just one small little chiku in this whole, you know, universe. You know, we all can't be that next somebody that goes viral on social media and all that. But if whatever you do on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, like for example, for me, like just to share with everyone, one example lah. I was randomly at Perhentian, okay, my first time in Perhentian, and it was like the most random kedai makan by the side of the beach. And I was sitting there with my girlfriend, and we were ordering our ikan bakar, and I saw someone with my tote bag, and I just couldn't stop staring. And I think the whole group of guys were like a bit like, why is this girl looking at our friend? And then I just had to like, I said, I'm so sorry, excuse me, where did you get your bag? And then he was like, oh, this is like, my sister bought it from this brand called Nyonya Kain, and she loves it. She bought like a few and she gave us all. So I suka gila this bag. I use it all the time. And I was like, and I at that time my eye already a bit, but I was like, oh, okay, because I'm Nyonya Kain, and like it's so random to be at the same spot at 9 o'clock malam having ikan bakar in Perhentian during Malaysia Day weekend. And I was like, oh, thank you. Then he was like, oh, so nice to meet you. And I was like, hello, everyone. And they were like, oh, okay, this girl's not a stalker, thank God. So yeah, you know, and it's so nice. And just to share another random moment was when I was dropping off post mailboxes downstairs in the mall nearby. And I happened to be queuing up to submit my boxes for Ninja Van. And then I saw this girl wearing a mask that looked familiar, but then I didn't want to straight away, like, because I wasn't sure. But I noticed it looked familiar, so I happened to just ask. I said, I really love your mask. May I know where you got it from? Then she was like, oh, you know, it was in the bazaar, and then I got this brand called Nyonya Kain. You gotta look for them. Then I was like, oh, actually, I've Nyonya. So it was I tell you, this moment made my entire month. Like honestly, I feel like getting that is the best. Like, you know, and then being able to suddenly get feedback from people like, oh, I didn't know you are actually doing Nyonya Kain. Like, you know, I sent it to represent Malaysia, you know, send to all her friends overseas. So those kind of things make me super happy. You know, I don't need to be the one in the star full spread, or I don't need to be the one, you know, I don't need all that. But the fact that I make a certain amount of people very, very, very happy, that brings a lot of joy to me. So I think that is my goal, because like, I think, you know, one thing, a lot of people say that you want to tend to get to expand and, you know, grow bigger and all that. But one thing that happens with expanding too much and growing bigger, right? You tend to lose that sense of the intimacy with your customers. Like I noticed at one point it was getting a bit too stressful, so I don't go to bazaars sometimes. But I noticed that I get feedback. They're like, we want to come and talk to you. So like, okay. So I was like, okay, I'll make sure I come and bring my laptop, I bring my coffee, and then so that engagement is very important. So and it's always good to recognize what is it that people love about your brand and keep on going for that. So I noticed that one thing that differentiates me, if people ask me what is so different about your brand compared to other batik brands, I said it's Dayana. I said, you know, like, so it's me, you know, things cannot run without me. And I think in terms of that's the value I add. So it's always, I think what Edmond and Azlan were also sharing, you know, what is your value added? So that's always very important. You could be selling the same product with other people, but what is it that you add in? Not necessarily the pricing, but the value, the customer service. Yeah. So that's very, very, very important. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Dayana. I think before we go to the closing, I think Dayana wants to announce her special promo code to everybody outside.
Yes. Yep. Okay. So I'll just type it in shortly. So everyone who has tuned in, including Edmond and Azlan, and also everybody from RYSE, please stick down and I'll share lately. So for everyone, we'll be opening up for the rest of the month. I will have a special 25% promo code for those who are in this call. So it will be NK, which stands for Nyonya Kain, and then RYSE, RYSE, and then 2021. So just key it in. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Jawed. Thank you so much. So just key it in at the website and you will get your instant 25% off store-wide discount. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Dayana. With that, we have come to the end of this forum, everyone. That was Dayana, Azlan, and Edmond sharing about their experience and insight at Entrepreneurs Starter Pack Forum, brought to you by RYSE and supported by City Foundation. I think one of the key takeaways for me is just that, you know, as an entrepreneur, it always starts with yourself and your mindset before you can actually take the first step on starting your own business. And I think I like the fact that all three of them has highlighted that entrepreneurs are nobodies with a dream. So if you feel like you're a nobody, it means that you're taking one step closer to being an entrepreneur. So don't feel like you cannot start this journey. And I hope the Entrepreneur Starter Pack Forum has motivated you to take action and pursue your own small business. So if you're interested to find out more about Nyonya Kain, Kelava, and Smolpotato, be sure to check out their social media handles. I think it's listed on the slides. Yeah, here. Here there are their social media handles. If you want to find out more about their business or follow them, because now you feel like they are going to be your mentor in life. So please do go through the handles that are available on Facebook and also Instagram. Yep. All right. So if you're interested to learn more about starting a business, but you're not so sure that you have the skills to do so, RYSE is actually organizing our flagship program of the year called RYSE Online. It is a free beginner's online course for Malaysian to learn at your own pace about the basics of building a small business from scratch. So the course is starting now. It's been started already. You can join in now all the way up till 30th of July where it closes. And Malaysian aged 18 to 28 years old will also get the chance to win seed funding of up to 10,000 ringgit to start your own business. So start today by signing up. You can sign up via the bit.ly link that is attached to this slide, or you can always go to see our social media to find the link as well. So if you enjoyed today's session, all three panelists of the day actually came, and how we found out about them is through Talkie Talks. So if you're interested to learn more about Talkie Talks or hear talks that's similar to this, you can always go and follow Talkie Talks via the social media handles that have Talkie Talks happening every single Wednesday. Yeah, and if you'd like to find out more about RYSE and our upcoming programs such as like today's program, Ready Set RYSE, you can always follow RYSE Programme at our social media handles listed on the slide here. All right, thank you all for joining us today, and thank you all for the panelists, Dayana, Edmond, and Azlan, for actually coming and taking your time to share about your experiences, and see everybody at the next session. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
See you guys. Bye.
Thank you,
Have fun.
everyone.
Bye. Keep in touch,
Ciao.
everyone. Keep in touch.
Yeah,
Thank
keep in
you.
touch.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.